Wednesday morning, Zach's back at work. He was a little bit early. He was about 5 minutes early today, so that's a good sign, I guess. Yeah. That's a sign that, you know, well, that's just one step. So we got will this be the most yards that we've done in a day since, you know, we kind of getting started, you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 10. So, and those 10 are, you know, he's on one already, and it's 8:15. So, yeah. So by now, y'all have seen the video of me over at the Bobcat dealer. I got mixed thoughts on buying a brand new, you know, Mini X. That E10 though would be a pretty handy thing to have, but you'd be very limited on what you can do with it. You know, for me, you know, if I was a plumbing guy or, you know, somebody that did a lot of, you know, interior demo on, you know, commercial stuff and that kind of thing, it's really designed for that. Though it'd be great to have, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, that little thing is, well, it's little. And one thing that I've learned in being in business and all is buying the right piece of equipment for what you do. You can't, I mean, you have to be mindful of the cost of the equipment, of course, but there's no sense of getting a piece of equipment that is so little that I'm not going to want to fool with it, right? When you're moving, when to me, it's just my opinion. I'm not a, you know, I'm not a pro. I'm just thinking about what I need for my business right now and where I'm at, not where nobody else is. Don't give a damn about where nobody else is. I know there's going to be people that know a lot more about this than me, but where I'm at right now, based on what limited knowledge I have of business, equipment, and the mix, sure, I'd love to have it, right? But it's $30,000 for a brand new one. And, well, Ray, just buy a used one. Well, see, when people say that, well, they're not considering the availability of some of these machines. Like that one, that E10, he had 2 of them, and he already had dibs. Somebody else already had dibs on one of them. Of course, this is what he's telling me. He might be trying to pressure me into buying it, but I'm not going to buy anything first time seeing it. I'm not me. I'm going to have to digest all that. I don't make hardcore rash decisions on things like this. But you don't want to buy a piece of equipment too small. Yeah, it'll work great for doing a French drain, but you know, I don't know what. Number one, I've never done a French drain for money, so I don't know what all that entails as far as labor goes. Okay, let's get that straight. Number two, the equipment ain't going nowhere, right? And I need to, so that's my thinking. I learned a very valuable lesson about 8 years ago when I bought a stump grinder. I bought the stump grinder. It was a Super Junior, and in some of my older videos, y'all, like especially equipment videos, I probably showed it. I don't know that I got a lot of footage of me actually using it, but I did make money with it, and I did sell it, you know, because after I bought the Bobcat, I wasn't using it at all, and I wasn't trying to really sell stump grinding work when I had the stump grinder you know, after the first initial onslaught of, you know, of work that came in. I learned very quickly that it was too small for me to make money at it. I could make more money sitting on a lawnmower, and it wasn't going to cost me as much. Sitting on a lawnmower, you know, doing the lawns, I can go, you know, to say, you know, Fayetteville or whatever. Then I could work my way back home hitting lawns all along the way. With a stump grinder, you can't do that. So you got to make sure you're charging a lot. And then you can't charge too much because people are like, man, I ain't paying $250 to get that little stump removed, or $300 to get that little stump removed. So you'd have to come in, and then you'd have to come in a little, for that particular machine, you have to come in a little bit low to get the work. You know, $200 or whatever, minimum is what I had. But then I'd get out to the job and I would grind a stump and I'd be out there for, you know, 2 hours, you know, making $200. Now, if you're working a 9 to 5, that's great money. But when you're working out here living on the land, that ain't great money. I mean, it's okay, it's doable, but where the illusion is, right, is, well, that's $200 in 2 hours, but what it's not saying is I can be on a lawnmower and I can make $200 in 2 hours cutting grass and be efficient in my expenses and not have to, you know, ride that far for $200 and then come back, drop the stump grinder off, put the mowers on the trailer, and then go back out. See, all that right there was what was bothering me about the stump grinder. If I had gotten a bigger stump grinder, which was going to cost me an additional, you know, I paid like $8,000 for that stump grinder, and I paid cash for it. It was used, you know, and then I probably made about $10,000 with it, something like that. And then I turned around and sold it for like $5,000. But I had it for a couple of years, and it sat for about 6 or 7 months with me not using it at all. And I wasn't trying to use it, right? I wasn't trying to sell work that required it. I wasn't trying to do none of that, because the logistics of everything, it just wasn't worth it to me. And plus, you had to stand by the machine the whole time you're running it. It wasn't remote control, none of that fancy stuff. And it was just too small. So, check. You put that in your brain, and then moving forward, when you buy equipment, you start thinking a little bit different about the equipment. No matter what a great deal it is, though, that is a big factor. I realize, and you must learn from your endeavors and be grateful that you don't take a hit. Like, I didn't take a hit on the stump grinder. I didn't make much with it, but I didn't take a hit on it either. But what I did do is I learned that I don't want to be in the stump grinding game. And if I am, then I'm going to have a bigger machine that I can operate from a cab or something, like from a machine. And it has to be bigger. It has to be able to do the stumps faster. But if you'll notice, if you go from just a Rayco's stump grinder, you know, 28 horsepower, blah, 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 you know, commercial, big boy, I mean, you know, if you go from that to the Rayco 50 horsepower, and that's the next step up at the time it was anyway, well, you're just about tripling the money. You're talking about a used one. We're talking about 20 grand, $25,000 right off the top. Is it worth it? Well, probably so if you can keep it busy. But most people, and like I've said this before, most people that I know that do stump grinding, they're not full-time stump grinding guys. They drive a school bus, or you know, they are firemen, or you know, all the guys that I know that do stump grinding do not do it full-time. They don't. That's just a fact. And I was not planning on doing it full-time either. But I wasn't going to sit there and let a machine just keep getting older, me not using it, and me not even looking to use it. You know. So with the thinking on the Mini X, I'm thinking the same type scenario. The only difference is I've never ran a Mini X, and I don't exactly know what all I can do with it. and people don't let you borrow their machine. You know, I don't know that I want to do, you know, French drains 24/7. You know, and if I buy that Bobcat E11, I mean E10, then that's about all you can do with that, man. I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff you can do with it, but I got a feeling, just, you know, not based on nothing but my experience, I got a feeling that that's going to be too little for some of the stuff that I would want to do. It would. And at a price point of $30,000 for a brand new one, and there's all kind of friendly, you know, things they got going on. That would be a machine that I'll probably just pay cash for if I bought it. I don't think I'm going to buy that though. I just don't. And it ain't about the price. It's about the size of it. Now, they got another machine, the Bobcat machine. If you step up a notch, and it's the E20 or something like that. I got all the information right here. It's the E20, and I got the numbers, the actual numbers. I got the finance, everything right here. I was at the Bobcat dealer over an hour yesterday. So, and you know, I'm not opposed to buying a Bobcat Mini X. You know, I don't know that I want to buy a brand new, but you know, from what I'm seeing out there, the used ones that they're wanting, you know, for a used E20, they're wanting, you know, $35,000 or $40,000 for them. I mean, yeah, and I don't know, and I don't know, man. And for a brand new E20, they didn't have no E20s on the yard there yesterday. So I don't know how available they are. It goes back to that again, you know. But I know for a fact that I'm not going to buy nothing too small. You know, if I think it's too small right now, then I know when I get it, it's going to be too small. I need to be at least wondering if it's too small or not. Because there's a lot of stuff that I may want to do with the Mini that that little machine can't do, you know. So, you know, and then, you know, y'all saw me just take a gander at that Deere 17 or whatever. Now, that's more in line with what I would want to buy. It's bigger, it's more powerful, hydraulics, or, you know, blah blah. So that's my thinking on all that, man. I just have mixed feelings about buying a machine that I don't know a whole lot about and limiting myself to doing French drains or minimal drainage stuff. Obviously with that little E10, you ain't gonna, I mean, you might be able to do some demo work, but you ain't gonna be doing no major demo work with that thing either. Nothing like my T190. I need to get something that's along the same lines as the T190 as far as weight and capacity and you know, ability.